Okay, we are live. Um, Hopefully things go smoothly tonight. I had to rebuild the entire OBS setup for two people, so as opposed to a regular three, so I had to redo everything. So like none of my hotkeys are set up. So it might be a little janky. Oh man, I'm getting an echo on my end. Well, that'll be fun. Um,
Are you
but
getting
yeah,
it now?
what?
Are you getting an echo
Uh,
still?
I don't think so. Let's
Okay.
hope that doesn't happen because otherwise I'm just gonna like keep on top and do like that all the time because it's totally gonna throw me off. So, welcome to an incredibly chill cosplay photo critique. Sarah is currently in Japan because she's a turd and having more fun than us.
Not wrong.
And I'm incredibly jealous. So, yeah. So, kind of the basis of this critique. This is going to be our mini critique. Mallo was gracious enough to join me on this adventure. Um, so uh, all these photos that we're going to be going over tonight were originally submitted for critique with Topher Oriole, and we were all set up to do that critique, and that Thursday happened, and I got just knocked out hard. I I went to after classes. I went home and I was just like, yeah, I'm not feeling very well. And I ended up going to take a nap, and I woke up with a 102.5-degree fever. And I'm just like, yeah, critique's not happening today. I could like barely sit up in bed. So, um, these photos are gonna be from that critique. But I didn't want to give it like a full critique. Topher will be back for a full-on critique sometime, either November, maybe December. I'm not really sure, just because December or November is kind of a crazy month. Um, and there's not a lot of like free Thursdays for that month. Um, so yeah, but wanted to let everyone know that the environment of this critique is going to be more chill than normal. So just lean back, grab your wine.
Oh, I got it.
Oh snap. We're ready.
Oh,
Normally we do the guest showcase, but man, if you guys don't know Mallow by now, what the hell's wrong with you? She's been on
way to be
this this
humble.
this this is your third episode here. You're in the chat every time. They should know Mallow before then anyways, but like shit. So,
Yeah, true.
here we are. Um yeah, let's do it. We're gonna see. We might do a Q&A. Depends how things are going. But yeah, let's jump into some photos. That sound good?
Yes.
Cool. So we're gonna do this first one. As always, I just want to reiterate, chat. Feel free to comment on the photos. We'll be watching your comments and also kind of following along with what you guys have to say and bringing them up. So please feel free to say contribute. Also, hi everyone that said hi. Sorry, I have not been good
Hi,
at responding. um, okay, so this first photo is from Amanda Swanson Photography. Um, God damn it, I don't have a button set up to quick full screen images. Okay. Um, and I mean, I know we were talking about this one before the stream,
Mhm.
Mallow, and I think both you and I are super into this shot. It's I think having seen a bunch of Amanda's photos and having her submit a bunch of photos before, I almost want to say this is the best photo I've ever seen from her. It's just really, really good. Um, the colors are awesome. I love the kind of muted blues with the strong reds of the Mifa. The contrast is really good. The framing's awesome. It's maybe not perfectly symmetrical, but it's darn close enough that my brain reads it as fully symmetrical. I have some nitpicks on the shot, but like overall, I just really dig it. Mallow?
I'm gonna try to not fangirl too much, but the environment, I don't know where this was shot, but it legit looks like Zora's domain. Like it's
Yeah, it's got the colors for it and the
yeah.
feel.
I don't know like how cool toned it was originally. I'm assuming it probably wasn't like to this extent, obviously, but I really appreciate that the whole environment was cooled down so that Mifa stood out with those reds. Um, the pose, the expression, just it screams Mifa. Very elegant. She's, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm okay with her looking down in this shot or even closing her eyes just because like there are a lot of times where like she's, you know, praying or has that kind of like she closes
Yeah,
her eyes and stuff like that.
I, I,
So,
I totally agree. I think maybe the only thing on that with the eyes down, I wish her chin was kind of down a little bit, so
mhm,
it was kind of following her gaze, but
mhm,
that's pretty nitpicky as well.
mhm. Um, I can't tell if there was like any smoothing done. Well, in the face, obviously, but like to the costume itself. But it
Hmm.
looks really like clean and like just perfect, like crisp to me. I don't know,
Yeah.
like something that I like. If there was something that if you wanted to go like beyond, um, just smoothing the skin, because I've done this with a similar Mifa outfit. Even if you wanted to like go in and like get rid of some of the wrinkles of the bodysuit. Like I know it's tedious and like who wants to do that, but it makes it feel more real. Like I've even gone as far as like editing the neck, like and getting rid of the
Yeah.
folds and making it blend in. It's
Yeah.
a pain,
So
but
so the thought that I had there is the one that I would have probably done is where her face is coming through the suit. I think I would have blended that line
mhm,
so that you don't see that clear definition of where the suit ends and her face
mhm,
starts. Um
mhm.
uh
The only other thing that I can say about it is that if you look and to our left as the viewer, it's kind of odd how like half of her chest is like this blue and then like the other half is an orange tint.
yeah, you're
Just
right.
just some color correction would have been just because like her face and then like her right breast and like the rib cage is all like warm tones and then you have the left breast and then the chest where it's blue. It's just like simple color correction. It's sometimes honestly something that I do because your eyes after so long editing, you don't catch those things. Sometimes you have to sleep on it. Like especially this looks like it took you some time. Like you spent time on this and you put your heart into it. Sleep on it sometimes because I don't know, that's me. I sometimes I
Yeah,
need to sleep on it to adjust
totally.
my eyes.
The other thing there, so this is feels pretty nitpicky as well. For the most part, I like the pose. Um, I just wish her torso was a little less upright. Like,
Mm,
I love her hands in the shot. I love her legs, but I kind of wish that her body had a bit more angle to it. It's pretty straight up and down. I say
mm,
body, I mean torso.
mhm,
Um, I think maybe if she kind of continued that lean and then maybe had her hand out a little bit further, that could work in terms of just kind of giving a little bit more, making her pose feel a bit more dynamic. Um, but yeah, it's pretty nitpicky. Um, it's overall, this shot is the kind of shot where like I will immediately, if I was scrolling, I'd immediately stop and look at it.
Oh yeah, I'd want a print of this. Like this would look so beautiful in a print. Like that's just me though. I want to collect everything Legend of Zelda and frame it. So, but like it just, from how vibrant it is, this would look really well like as a print for sure. Like even like going in and zooming, like you can tell that when this was shot, it was shot well and like it was in focus. Like really good, really
The
really good.
the only other thing that after looking at it for a while, I would maybe say is that the frame is just a bit bottom heavy. Um, I would maybe just crop in a little bit of the bottom of the frame. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying making it like a 16 by 9, not quite that strong of a crop, but there's just like a maybe take out like, so if you take that bottom section from like her leg down, if you like
Mm.
cropped that section in like 1/3 of itself, um, just kind of balance it out just a little bit. Um, yeah, no, I think props on this one, Amanda. You did
Mm.
awesome. Any other thoughts before we move on?
Nope, it's beautiful. I love it.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's an awesome shot. Um, so the next one is from Nude Carbon Studios or Chase. Chase is uh I don't want to say quite local photographer, but he's my evil twin.
I
um
wonder why.
uh or am I the evil twin? I don't know. Both. we've uh we've been confused as each other often at cons, which is kind of amusing. So um that's why I call each other our evil twins.
Love
Um
it.
so disclaimer, I've never watched Avatar, so I can give no opinion on character context. Um
I don't know how to feel. You need to watch it. It's long, but you need to watch it. Good.
um Uh, and I also know that this shot is a bit outside of Chase's, I don't want to say quite comfort zone, but he mostly shoots flash, and this is natural light, so I know this was kind
Oh
of
wow.
um uh not his usual setup.
Mm.
Um I overall I really like the pose. I like the location. Think overall I like the lighting. There's some specific parts that I have problems with it, and then I think the framing feels a little off to me. Um the first thing I think of when I look at it kind of lighting wise
Mhm.
is I like how it highlights like it's got that really strong rim light look. And I
Mhm.
really dig that. I just really don't like how it lights on his nose. Um, it's just that like where it's just like brightens his nose. Got the strong lighting that just there. I've never been a fan of that, so I would, you could maybe even get away with that too if you had him turn just a little bit so the light, because the light's just like barely grazing him that way. So if he was turned a little bit more, you could potentially get it without on the nose. Um,
I
I'm trying.
wonder if this was shot like in the afternoon, since the sun's on the right. Like, I mean, it's hard to tell, but like, I wonder if this was shot like more in the afternoon, or if who's getting up in the morning, really though.
Yeah, yeah.
It's rare I ever know anyone that gets. Um, the light is just like I like the location because I like that like the water falls in the foreground. Like I appreciate it
I want to
because like
like it
he's not.
more than I do. I think it's the biggest thing with
Yeah.
that waterfall. I think it's like contextually, I just don't think we understand that waterfall like area very
Well,
much.
it's
So
too dark. It's
it's
too
too
dark.
dark and it's
And
like too bokeh out. It's like hard to
yeah,
really understand.
I feel
Um,
like in this situation, he should the photographer should have been shooting from a completely different angle because the light is behind him. And so you got like that heavy shadow with, I mean, this is stuff you can correct. Absolutely. You can
mm,
correct it. You can lift the shadows and play with it. But I mean, it's ideal to, try to get as good a shot during that time. So I think for him, I mean, since he's not used to shooting outdoors, this is pretty damn good. Because like when I first started shooting natural, I was like I had no concept of the sun, or I was shooting at noon. I like it was a hot mess. So like he did pretty good, and his compositions, I appreciate it. Maybe pull it out a little more to get more of the environment. So then that waterfall would have, even if it would have been bokeh out, we'd have had more of it. Because it almost looks like, I know it's a waterfall, but it could look like freaking bubble wrapping
yeah,
for. I mean, it looks like bubble
lots of
wrapping.
people in the chat kind of were reading it as like a rock at first, and I
Okay.
can totally see that. Like that everyone saying that actually made me second guess it. I was just like,
Mm.
but is it a waterfall? Like it has
I
to
mean,
be because the lighting is so different on it than the other rocks, and so
oh, it could be a rock.
but like like yeah.
Hey, it makes it more interesting because then
Oh,
you have to guess.
I mean, sure. um,
um, but if you wanted to salvage, and I don't mean this I'm not saying this photo needs to be salvaged. Don't take it that way.
mhm.
But if you wanted, if I've been in a situation where I go home and look at stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, well, here we are. And just lift the shadows. Like, I think that would have helped a lot we probably would see if that's a rock or if it's a waterfall. If there was a little more detail going on, if you lift the shadows. I do appreciate him brightening the arrows because, like, he's trying to do that glow effect. I don't know if it's spot on or the
Yeah,
right technique
yeah,
because I don't do those effects.
I think it needs to be. It either needs to be less or more. I just think
Mm.
it's kind of in this
It's
weird
too
in
white. It
between.
looks like it was
Yeah,
dodged. That's
yeah,
what it looks
it's
like.
a bit too in between right now, and like it just kind of reads a little weird right now. So I'd either make it stronger and try and make it even glow more, or have it be very subtle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, right now I'm just kind of like especially on his head, like I can barely read that glow was put in there. His hands I can like I read that fairly well, but yeah, definitely I would take it one way or the other more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, other thoughts on the shot? Um, I just am not feeling the birch trees in it, especially the one that's kind of coming right out of his shoulder. Um, if it were me and I was feeling a bit extra, I would totally just Photoshop those out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 'cause I'm pretty,
That would be a pain in the ass.
that the one that's coming out of his shoulder actually I think would be pretty easy to do. Um, uh, but yeah, and then I would clean up the kind of creases on his cosplay. There's just like
Mm-hmm.
one or there's really a couple on like the orange part of his cosplay that just feel particularly loud to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um the one that's in the middle that has that like particular point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
I
that
see it.
one, it just feels real strong, and I just would Photoshop it out, just kind of makes it a little cleaner. Um,
And then the big blob of
yeah,
green, I would have
yeah.
got rid of that in the
Yeah,
corner.
it's hard because I feel like I like the kind of foreground bokeh of that kind of stuff, but like if you're gonna do that,
It doesn't look like a leaf though.
you have to lean into it. Like you have to make it
Mm.
obvious that that
Hmm.
was a choice you were making. Right now, it just kind of feels like a bit of leaf that snuck into the shot.
I
Um,
mean, I definitely like I appreciate the composition just because like he could have shot this dead on, like straight ahead, like where the model's completely or the cosplayer, sorry, is completely looking straight at you. And I mean, would have been great, but I appreciate him trying to like kind of get an angle, like, trying to see the positives of these because like I think there's there's a couple things if he kind of fixed them up, like I think this is a pretty good shot. Like,
yeah, I also I think kind of something that Sarah usually brings up is the color toning of the shot.
oh yeah.
Um, it's not like it feels pretty natural right now, but I think
Hmm.
just like even taking the shadows a certain color direction could really kind of bring a bit more depth to the photo.
Yeah, for sure.
The more I look at it too, the composition I think is fine.
Mm,
He's more center framed than I think I originally felt, but I think just kind of the nature of it being as tight of a crop as it is, it makes it hard to read it that way. So,
hmm.
if you could reshoot it, I would have shot it just a little bit wider.
Hmm. I like his pose though and his
Yeah.
face. Like
Oh,
it's
totally.
great.
He's got the, stoic, deep in thought face with it. Like it that's something that's hard to capture, I think, without it, looking like I'm just bored and closing my eyes right now. Um,
True.
so that's particularly solid. Um, ready to move on to the next one?
I am.
Cool. So this next shot is from Fluffy Fox Photography, and
Fluffy
I
Ball.
think she's here in chat right now. I think I saw her
He is.
earlier. If I can remember correctly. Oh no. I clicked I went to click on the photo on my like submissions.vontography.com thing, and it gave me a
Mhm.
server error because I was gonna say I believe she made a comment on this being her first ever composite. I was going to confirm that, but apparently life doesn't want me to know that anymore. Mallory, do you want to take it away on this one?
Sure. Give me a minute. I have to look. I have to like get
Totally.
involved. I really, 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 really the colors. And I know it's really just mostly blue, but I'm a sucker for cool tones, so this was just like it pops for me. So I really enjoyed that right off the bat.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like I almost always bring blues into my photos, so
mhm.
absolutely agree.
I'm I'm stupid when it comes to compositing things, so like I'm assuming that the background's fake, obviously,
Yeah.
but like I don't like to assume.
She commented and says not first ever composite, but first full one in a long time. She
Okay,
says I tried real hard.
I honestly, I think I don't do it because it always looks fake, so I don't do it. So to me, I feel like it works. Like it doesn't feel obnoxiously fake. Um, and like I even like I'm a sucker for like details. I like the little flurries in the sky. Like I love that. I love when I can tell that a photographer took time into a photo. Like I can tell that you spent time and put thought into it.
Oh snap!
So
Just gonna interrupt real quick and say thanks, Fluffy Fox, for that Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate
oh,
it.
oh snap.
uh,
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
Oh no, you're fine. You can just fine. The subs are important. Yeah, I really like it. And let me zoom in on these. Zoom in. Girl, you got it down. You got the human eye down. See, when it comes to the eye, I really try to focus on like, oh, my eyes are a hot mess. Like this part of your eye. I have my contacts in, they're literally, it's fine.
So what
like
what do
the
you
bottom part.
Okay, so the bottom part of the iris is what you were looking for.
Can you zoom in on the photo? So
Okay, hold on.
We can show it.
Yeah, let me screen share. All my shortcut keys are borked right now.
Oh
So let's do this. Okay. So I
know
there we go.
words.
Okay. Okay, cool. There we're zoomed in on these eyes.
Okay. So like I try to focus on only brightening the bottom because when just I don't know how it works. I don't know the whole science behind it, but for some reason there's always a shadow that hits.
Oh, I can tell you.
Okay, tell me.
So
like say it the technical way.
Because how things work with the eye is so you've got your catch light here. So light is coming into the catch light here. It is bouncing off the iris or the pupil and coming out of the iris here. So it's the law of reflection. So you have the light entering there, hits the pupil, bounces out. So by nature, the catch light is going to be the brightest section of the eye. But the next brightest section should be immediately opposite that catch light, because that's where the light's exiting. So that should be the brightest. The biggest problem with that people do when they retouch eyes is that they brighten all of the iris, and really you just want to be lightening the bottom, or which is almost usually the opposite section of the catch light.
See, this is why I don't do tutorials, because I don't use words well. I just know how it works, and it's because another photographer I learned from has said it in the right proper way. But yes, what Andrew said was right.
Let's see if I can paste this in chat real quick. There's an article that that pretty much taught. There we go. I pasted from F Stoppers. That pretty much taught me how to retouch eyes by Danny Diamond, and it's been incredibly helpful. So that is in chat now. But yeah, no, Fluffy Fox, you nailed those eye retouch part. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Not that
you go ahead.
Okay, cool. Let me stop screen sharing here. So the one thing that I would say is I'm impressed, really impressed with, is how natural you manage to make the lighting. The problem with composites is more often than not, the lighting just doesn't match up with the background. No, it's maybe not perfect. I think kind of the way that the lighting on her cheeks and her bridge of her nose feels a little off to how the background is. But that said, like you've got the angles right, and overall the lighting feels pretty good. And it's been feeling like it. This is probably the one of the higher praises you can do for composite is if you look at it and you don't immediately notice it's a composite, that's a pretty solid bit of praise. I really like the color toning. I think that the cheeks are kind of a bit too hot. It's definitely the nose is I don't know whether that was the how it was in the shot. I think maybe it was just dodge and burned a bit too bright though. Um, the one thing I would say in terms of the shot is there's just a bit too much headroom in the photo.
Mm.
Um, I would crop in a little bit so her her head is bisected by the third of the photo. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, there's just a bit too much headspace there. Um, I really like the particles that you put in the shot. I would I'd like to see more, and I'd like to see them a little bit less transparent. I think they don't read quite as well when they're that translucent. Like I'd like to see them kind of more of a brighter white. I just think they would read a little bit better. That's once again pretty nitpicky. The other thing that I would say is a little nitpicky is the uh cutting out job along the hair. It's just a bit too clean. You can see kind of like uh, it's just kind of a large soft brush to it. Something that you can try and do to clean that up is actually repaint in hair strands. Because otherwise, yeah, it just it's one of the giveaways that you cut a photo out and paste it into a different background is when the like the hair is that has that kind of soft edge to it. I'll zoom in for chat here. My screen. Doop doop. So you see kind of how soft that cutout is. Um yeah, overall though, I think awesome job. For someone who has not done a lot of compositing, a great job. Whoops, turned the wrong thing
Hmm.
off. Um any other thoughts on this one, Mallow? Or are you ready to move on to the next shot?
The only other thing I could say is the dress, the white part of the dress compared to the glove. It feels like the dress should have been maybe like dodged a little bit to be brighter to match the gloves.
Oh
But
my
besides
god.
that,
It's the whoa 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 days. She's here.
where?
She's in chat.
Hello from Japan. Why are
What
you
a
here? You're in Japan.
what a sassy person coming on it from Japan. It's like she's better than us.
God, she's so cool. I'm so jealous though. It's okay. I'm living through her. This
Yeah.
photo's great, Fluffy. It's beautiful and I love it so much. It's beautiful. Keep doing it. Keep going.
Okay, let's move on to the next photo.
Okay.
What were we clapping for?
I don't for her, for Fluffy. Guys, I'm a little loopy, okay? It's been a long day.
Dude, I'm running on so little sleep right now.
Oh, I'm so tired, but I'm just gonna get real hyper and it's gonna get weird. So
Yeah. I went to a concert last night in Chicago, and I got back at 3 in the morning, and I have class at 8:30 in the morning today.
because he hates himself, clearly.
So so we're running on fumes. I took like a power nap after getting back from class today, and I was like, I'm gonna nap for 20 minutes, and it was like a case of like I set an alarm, and I closed my eyes, and then the alarm went off, and I was just like, how the shit was that 20 minutes? I just like passed out, and it was just like, oh, 20 minutes is up. Okay, weird.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well, you said this was a chill critique,
yeah,
so
that's
that means I can be
that
extra stupid.
no, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, how much longer is Sarah gonna be there? She will not. I was gonna say, I know
She said
she's
she
not.
flies
Oh,
back on the 10th.
10th. Yeah, yeah. So there will be one more stream without Sarah.
Oh
Um,
snap!
I will announce the details of that at the end of this stream. So prepare for that. The next one, it's going to be a full critique, but it is also going to be a little bit of a different one, so it should be fun.
Oh,
But
so I get the little half point five. Is that how this works?
Mallow, you
Okay.
stop. Stop.
We put the trash in the point five stream.
Hey, you said you'd be willing to be on here.
I
Don't
mean,
even.
I am
Don't
trash, so
even.
this is fine.
Okay,
I love it.
bye, Sarah. Thanks for stopping in for a little bit. Have fun. I I'm I'm not sure whether I'm like hating you or just jealous, or there's too many emotions right now, but
I'm crying anime tears right now.
yeah. All right, let's move on to the next shot.
Okay.
Okay, this one is from Devin Johnson. Um, let me get it up on my screen before I make any comments. I was like looking at it on my like tiny OBS window, and I'm like, this is a very bad
Mm-hmm.
way to judge a photo.
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel like
Oh my god. Sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm
oh
sorry, Andrew.
no.
It's Sarah. I hate my life.
I hope I get a gift too, Sarah, as long as
It's
it's
gonna be
not
the same.
BL.
It's gonna
Just
be
everyone
you
gets a
got
BL. I'd be like, nope.
everyone look under your chairs. There's
Look under
BL.
your seat. You get a BL and you get
You
a
get a
BL.
BL. You get a BL. Okay.
Oh my god. And then Nurikos is on here. Jesus. You guys stop. Go have fun in Japan. Get out of here. Get
Yeah,
out.
go
Get
buy me
out.
some more
Get
BL.
out. Ah,
Okay.
we're really bad at this.
We're terrible.
um okay, photos. This one's purple and I like purple, so that means this photo's good. That's my critique. No,
Purple's one of my favorite colors, so I mean, they win.
admittedly, I dig the hell out of purple. I I'm conflicted on this photo because I think there's a lot of really strong aspects of this shot, and I think there's some weaker aspects of the shot. So we'll start off with the strong ones. I really like how the um magic circle on the ground looks. It reads really well. I like the effect of it. I would maybe have the one that's kind of like blurring upwards. I think I would have um, maybe blurred it even more. But overall, I still really dig the effect of it. I'd also maybe have blurred it a bit in the kind of. It feels like a bit too sharp in the foreground. I'd maybe try to have blurred the kind of front of it to make it kind of feel a bit more natural. But overall, that special effect is really what's making this shot. Um, I like the rim light on the hair. I wish the rim light that purple rim light was a bit stronger. Um, I kind of feel like based on how it's showing along the hair, I kind of feel like it should be along the cape. It's almost like a little bit weird that it's not showing along the cape at all. I wish we were seeing that purple there. Um, where I think the special effect kind of isn't working for me is in the book. Um, I just think there's kind of there's a lot of things going on there, but none of them feel overly convincing to me. Like the smoke, just with the how the opacity is on it. Like I think that's a big thing with special effects that you can't do is opacity is rarely the thing you want to adjust with special effects, because like if it was smoke, like black smoke billowing out of the book, like you wouldn't be able to see through it like that. It's just not how it would look. So it kind of just doesn't read very well. The glow looks like it's coming from all the sections of the book, not like really, from like inside the book or um anything like that. And then I just don't really know the particles that are coming off of the book. I just don't know what those are. I just can't parse what they're supposed to be. Like
Mm.
maybe they're supposed to look like kind of maybe like ash of like burning pages, but I don't.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just have a hard time really reading it. I'll zoom in for the stream here on that section so they can kind of see it a bit better. Um, yeah. Thoughts, Mallow, before I go on to anything more?
Um, this one's hard for me because like I don't do a lot of like special effects stuff. Um, Definitely I feel like the fog um effect is a little too much on the cosplayer. Which I know I'm just probably gonna mimic a lot of the things you've already said, but
Mm-hmm.
um that's definitely the first thing. Like it messes with my eyes. I feel like it naturally I want to like squint and like to be able to. It makes the cosplayer look fuzzy to me. So, especially since like the spell circle thing there seems a lot more sharper than the the cosplayers. So it's just like my eyes are just like what's happening. Um, I love the colors. I think the spell circle is really cool. Like that's a cool. It's cool to me because I can't do it. I don't understand it, and I probably will never attempt it. But I really like it. Um, Besides that, I think the effort's really cool, and I appreciate it. But it just feels too empty for some reason. Like I would almost want the smoke to be real.
Yeah,
Like
I think if
you know
the
what I mean?
smoke was real, it would you could kind of have this wider crop, but as it is right
Yeah,
now, I'd maybe just crop it down. Um,
for sure.
it's just so much space around the cosplayer that just feels like unnecessary to me.
Hmm.
Um, I also feel kind of like the brightness of the background compared to the cosplayer is just like the luminosity is just a little bit too like flat and gray. Like there's just not a lot of contrast there.
Hmm.
I'd maybe have liked the that kind of fog to be darker towards the top, so that the cosplayer can pop a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, but let's see, and also kind of something that I try to avoid doing is it as the cosplayer's chin is like directly onto the camera. Um, I'd like it if their chin was maybe pointed a little bit one way or the other.
Or
Eye contact, excuse me, eye contact is perfect. Um, I think the gaze directly into the lens really works well here. Just kind of the gaze going directly the same direction as the chin and being directly onto the camera is not does not feel very dynamic and just kind of like just even just like a little bit of a head turn and eyes still directly into camera would feel a lot stronger.
mm,
um I think too, just kind of looking at the pose as Oki Cosby had mentioned here is that kind of I think maybe if the book was held a little lower and the hand that was pointed up was a little higher, that could help kind of make the pose feel more dynamic too. Just having both arms and hands feel about the same level kind of makes it feel not as dynamic. um yeah, any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
no, I agreed with a lot of what you were saying.
See what you're doing there, Boba. I'm not gonna give you that. No. Can't get everything you want here. We're not gonna go there tonight. Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This one is from everybody's favorite Felix.
Felix.
Mallow, do you want to take the lead here?
Yes. I was looking at this last night and I was living for this. Um, this is from wow, totally
Steven
Steven
Universe.
Universe, yes, which I just recently got into, and I was like, where have I been? Because I love it. Um, but I love this, and I think I love this a lot because it seems really conceptual to me. Maybe very simply, but I think maybe more for me because I'm someone who's a fan of it. I really like the emotion in this. I'm a sucker for anything flowers, anything grass, leaves, bushes, trees. So the whole framing
Nature's
of
pretty
this,
neat.
nature's pretty neat, even though sometimes I destroy it to get a perfect shot. Um, but this is just so elegant and soft to me, and just I love it. It's just such a simple shot, but it's such a tight shot, but it just works. Like I don't think I would want this to be like out, like zoomed out at all. Like I love it just the way it is. Um the coloring's really good. The only thing that kind of throws me off is like on the right side above her head. There's this weird like not flare. I don't know what it is. It's like these white lines in the bushes. I also notice on the left side there's this weird like white light kind of situation going on. Those two spots kind of distract my eyes. I'm not sure what they are. Um, but besides that, I do enjoy the like more tealish greens. Um, I yeah, I don't know if you can help me with that
No,
with
for
the
sure.
corners.
I I would say this is to kind of echo you. I think this is some of the strongest color toning that I've seen out of Felix.
Mm-hmm.
Um Kind of that those dark teals with the pinks work really well for me. Um to get to the corners here, if you zoom into like the top left and the top right corner, I just don't know what's going on. There's just some real weirdness going on here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll zoom in for chat and
It almost looks yeah, it looks like there's like cloning
yeah, it's just
done.
these very hard edged lines.
Then if you
Um,
look on the right hand side, there's this random patch of like spearmint green within the tealish bluish leaves. So there's not good consistency on color.
yeah, I just don't know what's going on with some of that. I think you're right that it's probably that the background was clone stamped or something like that,
Mm,
because now that I look at the top left corner, I think what I'm seeing at the very, very top left corner of the frame is I think I'm seeing some wig hairs.
mm,
And I think because points to me like that, the clone source was from lower and got some wig hairs sneaking in there.
mhm.
Um, so you're probably right that it was some cloning. Yeah, just watch out for that. If you're gonna use clone stamp, I'd say make sure that you have like a softer brush. Otherwise, you're gonna get some. There's just some weirdness going on there.
There was two things. Allison had said something about being immersed
Yeah,
in it.
uh, yeah. Oki Cosplay said that she would like to see the cosplayer kind of a bit more into the foliage.
Which I think is obviously I'm so about that
Yeah,
because it would make it more of a mood. But also, I feel like this bush wasn't originally as tall as the model if it was clone stamped. So they
yeah,
probably added more to it. I'm just
yeah,
assuming. I'm not stating facts, but
yeah. I don't know that for certain. I'm trying to see if I can find um where things have been cloned. It's kind of hard, but yeah, no, it'd be really cool to see him kind of more immersed in it. I would
Yeah,
agree that.
totally.
That said,
I'm all about that.
I don't particularly mind how they are right now. It just would be a little
Yeah.
cooler with them, with it kind of wrapping around them. Other thoughts, I wish the torso was just had like a little bit of like little less straight onto the camera. Um Kind of like you just had one shoulder a little bit more forward than the other. It doesn't have to be much at all. Like I overall I'm fine with it. I just think it's a bit kind of too straight on, especially
Mm,
with how the legs are like it's a very straight standing, standing up. I've said this a lot, but it's just not a very dynamic pose. And not all poses need to be dynamic, but I just think this one could be a little bit more interesting.
yeah.
Um
It's very portrait for sure.
yeah. I'm pretty like I'm not totally positive, but I think that gem is photoshopped in as well. Um
Mm,
Something about it reads really weird to me.
I think it's real.
I don't know. I'd be interesting to know from Felix. Um I'm not so certain that it's real. Um but either way, something about it feels kind of off to me.
Mm,
It's hard to put a finger on it. It could be that like dodge and burning on it just is maybe a bit too strong. It's got like maybe a bit too much glow coming out of it without like kind of having it affect the surrounding area.
yeah, it's glowing in the wrong ways, kind of thing. Like it's
Yeah.
not realistic. Yeah, I
Um
agree.
the reasons why I say I think it might not be real is if like I zoom in, let me share again. Like there's bit around like the thumb here where there's not like I feel like that shadow along the thumb doesn't feel real. I feel like the lines around the gem aren't quite right. I could be totally wrong on this.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know.
we'll have to harass him and ask.
Yeah. Um I'll see if I can do some digging real quick here. Let's see. I haven't seen Felix in the chat. Um do. Kill some time, Mallow, while I do
Oh,
digging.
I'm gonna be so me and just say the cosplayer is gorgeous. I always have to compliment the cosplayer because you never know if they're watching or they will watch, and like compliments are great, and it's good to give compliments. I think that this is a gorgeous cosplay. Just well done. Whether they made it or bought it or commissioned it, it's great. Um, I really like the pink skin. It's done well. I'm sure that it was touched up, but um, very very pretty. I love the emotion on
I,
the face
I dig the
for sure.
makeup on her face for sure too, because like
Yeah.
especially the kind of that highlights that are going on there. Those
Hmm.
look nice.
Yeah. The wig is precious. I love that wig. I would so use that wig for like non-cosplay stuff. It's so cute. Um,
Yeah, I couldn't find anything. I was hoping that Felix uploaded it to Instagram or something like that so that I could do
yeah.
some digging there. Uh, but I couldn't.
It's like with me, it's weird because like depending on what the series is, even if I've never watched it, I usually will like look into it. Like there's times where I'm like, no, I want the environment in it, which usually I'm gonna be real with you in like social media, people want tight shots. Like they want to see it up
I want
close.
that
They don't
shot to
really
be
care.
tight.
Yeah. They don't care about the environment unless you like really appreciate the art of photography. But and I'm not saying everyone's like that, but there are times where I want a lot of environment and there's times I want a really tight shot. And I shoot a lot of tight portrait kind of shots. I'm
I
very
I
really
did
into
I did
portrait.
more Instagram digging. It does look like the gem is real. So I think it's
Yes, I win, and Heidi wins because she said I
yeah.
think she was
So I
agreeing.
think it's just the retouching on it that feels weird then.
Yeah, that can make it seem that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I personally like this close up for sure. I like
Yes.
it. Tight shots. I like saying it's gonna be my like
Shots
go-to thing
tight.
to say. It's tight.
Um,
Okay.
cool. Any final thoughts on this one before we
It's
move on?
beautiful. Felix, you're talented. And so is the cosplayer. Let's move on.
All right, cool. Let's move on to this next shot. This one is from Ginny Liz, and it was she is both the cosplayer and the editor, and I think she directed her significant other to take this photo. So not quite self shot, but in that realm of like almost self portrait.
Hey, it's teamwork.
Yeah, no,
Heidi has
totally.
that kind of teamwork too.
Mm,
Heidi's the same way. All right, you can go first.
cool. Um, I've had the pleasure of briefly shooting Ginny in this cosplay, and this cosplay is awesome.
Mm.
So, uh, it's one of those cosplays that's it's pretty hard to, I feel like, not get a good shot of it. Um, so that's got that going for it. Um, I'm taking a guess and saying that this was at Colossal Con East at that stream that I feel like a lot of people have been shooting at. I don't know that for certain. Um, but it kind of looks I feel like it looks similar to the location I've seen before for that. Not that that changes my feelings at all on this shot. For the most part, I like the lighting in the shot. I really like the highlight along the dress, how it hits her legs, her chest. However, it's just a bit harsh on the face. Like you're getting that hard line from where the one braid is going across her face and making that dark shadow along her face. Um, her eyes just are a bit dark. Um, and just overall, the shadows just aren't quite as soft along the face as I would like them to be. Now a lot of that you could do some cleanup in post and really kind of improve that, but yeah. Uh, I also dig the color toning of the shot. It's got that most of the shot is kind of that like baby blue, robin's egg blue tones of the dress. But the rest of the shot's got these muted earth tones, and I kind of feel like all of that really melds together really nicely. Thoughts, Mallow?
I don't know if I. I
Mallow doesn't know.
don't. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I've been looking at it. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the color grading.
Hmm.
Like, I just feel like because
I think maybe if you took the green a different direction, maybe you'd like it more.
maybe well no, the green is great. I feel like her skin tone, like I feel like I want it to be brighter and not so dull. Um, I feel like it just meshes too much with like the background for some reason. I don't know. Like I feel like my main focus, like yes, I mean the cosplay, obviously you want to be focused on the work of it, but that's where my eyes go, like only there because
I,
it's the only really vibrant
yeah,
thing.
I think that has more to do with like the luminance, like
Mm.
her chest as like the brightest area of this shot, and then her face has a lot of shadow on it. Um, so I think that has more to do with the overall lighting of the shot than it
Yeah.
does with color toning. Although
When
I
you change the vibrancy of something, though, it does lift,
yes,
like it does make it brighter. But I see what you're saying. Like
yeah,
the shadows definitely need to be lifted a little bit,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, especially along her face. Like it's
Mm,
those shadows are just a bit too dark on her face.
yeah. Um, I do really appreciate the pose, and how the fabric is draped. I think it was definitely, I mean, unless you just sat down and it looked like this, then you're literally a goddess and just like keep doing this, because like dealing with fabric and putting it in a way where it looks tastefully like done, like it's hard, and this just looks like a painting, like it, you know what I mean, like it's just I really really like it. Like it reminds me of almost like those fine art paintings, and how it's like it just kind of just flows in that way that is just, it's tasteful. I would have probably like fixed up some of the wrinkles like in the middle of the like middle area
Yeah,
of the
kind of where
dress.
it's draping along her legs.
Mm-hmm. The to the left, I mean, I think it's fine. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
okay with a little
it's
wrinkle.
right by her, like her right leg by her knee, kind of that
Mm-hmm.
area.
Yeah. I'm not really nitpicky about tons of wrinkles, because I like my stuff to look a little realistic. Like it doesn't have to all be smooth.
Hmm.
But when it's like a jumbled area, then yeah, I totally
Yeah.
agree that you should do that. But the pose
I
and the
think it's
face is
because
great.
too, like the rest there's really not a lot of like wrinkles, or at least not noticeable wrinkles throughout the rest of the cosplay, that like that section they kind of just pop out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I just there's so I just feel like I want, like, I don't think that the color grading is terrible here. I just feel like I'd want blues in the shadows for some reason. Like I don't know why. I feel like there's just, if you were to, I say like you should play around with it and see, like try to, I think it's great the way it is, but if you wanted to like play with it more, like try to put some like color in the
so
shadows
yeah. So
maybe.
just to cover this real quick. Jenny asked if there was a good way to tutorial as to removing wrinkles. How I personally would do that is with frequency separation.
Mm.
And I happen to have a tutorial on how I do frequency separation, so I threw that in the chat. So not it's maybe a bit like more advanced, and you'll have to kind of think about how you want to use it to alter wrinkles on a dress, but that's personally how I would do it. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, you're okay. But yeah, I just, for sure in the face, but also like it's hard to explain because I like the darkness of it. Like
Yeah.
it again reminds me of a fine arts painting where like a lot of times the shadows are very dark in those paintings.
So I think I know kind of where you're going with this, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
can I try articulating? I think what you're getting at.
Yes, please.
Um,
Yes.
and I think it's that like the contrast and luminance values, like on her versus what is behind her, like aren't
Mm,
totally lining up. Like where like the background with kind of the rocks is very similar in luminance value as her like upper torso,
mm-hmm.
and then there's the darker section, and I think I would like it where um there's if this shot was taken just a bit lower, and you could have her head against that kind of area that's a bit brighter, it would allow her face to pop out a bit more. Right now where it's at, it's kind of this mishmash of intersection between like the rock and then the dark watery area, and then the brighter background with the greens and the browns, that
Mm,
it's just there's a lot going on kind of right behind her head, that it just kind of there's a lot of the same kind of luminance values, that it just doesn't allow her to pop out, even though kind of it does have that kind of painterly quality on her. I just think that that immediate background doesn't have quite that same quality to it.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I articulated that any better than how you were, but
You sound better than when I try to say stuff.
I don't know about that one, but we'll pretend.
The only nitpicky thing I have, which I have so many times looked at cosplay photos after, I'm like, crap, how did I not notice that? The necklace I feel like should have just been like
Yeah.
straightened a little more.
God, if I had $1 for every time like a
It happens to
necklace
me all the
wasn't
time.
perfectly aligned anymore, I'm just I get so pissed because like those are a pain to fix and post. I've done it before. It's annoying.
And
Uh
it's harder to catch those things when you're at a convention than when you're location shooting, just because you're like, I gotta get this done. So like I always have to like remind myself, and I still don't sometimes. I love when I'm shooting with someone who has like a friend with them. They're like, oh, and they'll whisper in my ear like, oh, that's like not true. I'm like, oh, thank God you're here because like I'm a professional. Hi, I didn't know that, but it's
yeah.
real. So yeah.
Couple nitpicky things, and well, one, start this off. I don't. I think I talked about the cosplay a little bit, but actually, I really like the pose of this shot. I think the pose
Oh,
is
it's
really
gorgeous.
strong.
Yeah.
But the one area where I think the pose could improve is I would love to see the hands softened up a little bit. Especially that the left hand kind of feels like it doesn't quite know what it's doing. You know what I mean? Like the her right hand I think is totally fine. Although
I
I'd
think it's
maybe
just
still
balled
soften it
up
a little
too.
bit. Yeah, it's just kind of like, the fingers are all kind of doing their own thing. There's no like
Mhm.
uniformity to that. There's no princess hands as Oki Cosby puts it.
You almost would want it like the fingers pointed out,
Hmm.
like away
Yeah.
from her a little bit,
Yeah,
like
I
the other
think
one.
I think it especially doesn't reads a little bit weird just because like it looks like the pinky is going over the index finger or the ring finger.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Bobo really wants me to do my princess hand tutorial, but no, refuse, refuse. Gonna have a pit. That's gonna cost you Patreon tier 5 for that.
Oh my god.
Okay. Any other final thoughts from you on this one, Mello? Or
Nope, it's beautiful and she's beautiful.
cool. We have reached halfway through the critique. So we are going to take a short break, 5 minute break.
Mhm.
Um Mallow, this is the point where Mallow usually yells at us that we're taking a poop break. So this time I can be like, "Yo, Mallow, you taking a poop break?"
I mean,
Um,
it's possible, and I also have to refill, so I might poop as I refill. Who knows? I have no shame tonight.
um, so what I would say there is we could do a Q&A when we get back.
We should. Let's do
Let's
it.
yeah.
Who's
How
a
about this?
short one?
Chat. It'll be up to you guys. You guys gonna decide if we do it Q&A when we get back. So
You better say yes.
post in the chat whether you want the Q&A for tonight. If not, we'll just move back into critiques. But for now, we're gonna go take that 5 minute break. So we'll be back in a little bit. Bye. Okay, we're back. Um, so here's the deal, guys. We'll do a Q&A. But if you ask us any more bathroom questions, I'm gonna end the Q&A. We're gonna be done.
Yep.
Stephanie in the background's like, why though? Uh, it's
Because I'll actually talk about
it's a
stuff.
very
So
solid question, one that we do not know the answer to. So let's roll on over to the Q&A. Phew. Awesome. Oops, I have the question up from last time. Oh, I gotta clear that. Q and A. Okay. Oh man. Uh, this one from Oki Cosplay is pretty good, and it's aimed towards you, Mallow. What
oh
photographers
god.
inspire you? What would you guys ever share a list of photographers you should know in the community? Let's answer that first part, Mallow, because I feel like that one's really aimed at you. Because I feel like you've got a awesome list of people that inspire you.
Um okay, I'll narrow it down because I have so many senpais. Um so honestly, I support all photographers in the cosplay community, but like I have a lot of favorites that have nothing to do with cosplay. Um some of my favorites right now that super inspire me is Jessica Kabaski. Probably saying that wrong. She shoots more editorial fashion work. You can find her on YouTube. I can link you guys to all this stuff. Um, she her color grading is really good. She's really good with composition. Another really inspiring photographer is Irene. I'm gonna say this wrong. Rudnick.
Something
Um,
like that.
yeah, she does more of the like fairy tale, elegant portraits, more of what I'm really into. I try to like incorporate that stuff in cosplay when I can, um, at least in color grading, because the problem is for me is that you still have to stay true to the cosplayer's work. I can't, edit their costume. I can't change the color of their costume. So you're really limited when it comes to getting really crazy. But they help me a lot with like the color grading part of it and making it stand out from other people's. And I try. I mean, and I still try to do my own thing, but those are the two main ones, and probably Brooke Shaden, because she's really just adventurous with her shooting. So I can link you guys to them. They're amazing, amazing photographers. And I honestly just to touch on that real quick, I strongly suggest, especially if you're focusing on cosplay photography, don't always only follow cosplay photographers. Really get out there, and I mean, I'll go as far as I'll buy a Vogue like magazine and look at it, or just something that I see that I like. It could be a magazine with fine art painting. Like you just gotta kind of venture outside of the community with photography, and that's helped me a lot
I,
because I
I
usually,
think
yeah.
I think the cosplay photography community can be a pretty insular in terms of like ideas.
Mm,
And you'll see a lot of the same popular things go around in the community. Like one, you'll see lots of just the same things repeated and trends in cosplay photography. So like, I mean, let's be honest, all of us like are constantly stealing ideas, and that's not a bad thing, but it makes you feel like you're gonna come across as a far more inventive and unique photographer if
mm.
you're stealing from outside the cosplay community than uh, uh, just kind of recycling the ideas that are in the community.
Yeah,
Um,
and just the last part that she had said
yeah.
was about like sharing it. I, you know, probably after this, maybe I'll share a few of them on my Instagram story for you guys, but I can totally do that for you.
So yeah, to that second part of would you guys ever share a list of photographers you should know in the community? Man, I've been meaning to do some sharing in Instagram
Sarah does that a lot.
stories recently, but God, I am terrible at doing that. I'll be thinking about it in class. I'll be like, yeah, I really need to do that, and then
Mm.
like it'll be like 2 hours later, and I've totally forgot that I was supposed to do that. But yeah, I think I don't know if I can think of too many people that the list of like cosplay photographers that you need to know is, I think, pretty small. But I do want, you know, cosplay photographers to kind of be a little bit more well known, and I would love it to kind of do more bridging of the international gap, because I feel like the communities are pretty tight. So like, you know, I feel like most of the photographers we know are the Midwest slash East Coast, and there's still a lot more West Coast photographers that are amazing that I probably don't know of. But like, even more so than that, there is a butt ton of amazing photographers in Europe and Asia,
Mhm.
and I only know a handful of them, and it's just we're real bad at like at sharing past kind of our social circles.
Yeah,
So
I think the biggest thing that people need to remember is that you don't have to look like everyone else. And honestly, this is my personal opinion. You're not going to learn a lot from just staying in the realm of cosplay when it comes to photography. If you want to stand out, you need to go beyond this community, and then learn because you weren't born knowing this stuff. You learn from other people. You take from different artists. So like if you stick to just this community and like I want to look like this and this and this, like you're not going to stand out. You have to go beyond this community. That's just real. That's my opinion. But
next
yeah.
question that I had was from Mahomedi, which was, how do you choose photos for your portfolio? I think this one I'm uh pretty solid on answering, because I literally just went through and decided on new photos to put in my portfolio. I've not updated it yet, but I've went through that process like this past weekend. So the trick is, you find an Oki Cosby and you ask her which ones that you should put in your portfolio.
Oh my god.
No. Really though, you should have someone as a sounding board for your ideas. You should have someone that you trust their opinion uh to do it. So my goal with my photography or portfolio is you should have it be a good reflection of your best work, but it really depends what you're doing. I think it shouldn't be like your 10 best photos you've ever taken. I think it should be like a good collection of like some of your strongest work, because like I feel like I definitely have like probably 10 shots that are like way above and beyond the rest of my shots, but I don't want to, like, I kind of feel like in a way um it's a little bit of false advertising. I just want to be able to showcase that like I can do a bunch of quality work, and not that like here's some amazing shots. Not that that isn't good at selling yourself, but I think that kind of sets, if you're only putting up your like absolute most amazing work, you're gonna sell yourself or you're gonna set up yourself a little bit for disappointment when the cosplayer gets the photos and they're not on that insane up to like your like top 5 shot quality, and that's kind of what they're looking for. um, that said, I would also not like just have a shit ton of photos. I think I set it at 20 cosplay photos. I have 25 cosplay photos in my portfolio, which is a lot. I would probably say no more, depending on how long you've been shooting, especially no more than 25 at the absolute max, but even then, probably no more than 20. Um, Thoughts on that, Mela?
No, I don't have a portfolio set up.
Okay.
I don't.
Um, I
It's
know
a
there
mess.
was uh this one was Lou, I'll just answer real quick because I don't have any thoughts on this, which is um how can get your photos published in a cosplay magazine? I have no freaking clue. I have zero like I think magazines are kind of dead, and I'm like,
Why
who that?
would you?
Yeah, I'm just like,
Sorry.
who the hell buys cosplay magazines? Like, I don't
You
know.
can literally just submit it and
Yeah, I think the only reason why people think getting their like the only people that buy cosplay magazines are the ones that are like
are the kids you don't want
that
to hang out with
yeah,
at cons.
or the people that are like, "Oh, I got my photos featured in cosplay magazine." I don't know. I think it's kind
I'm
of
sorry.
I just think it's kind of like a dead medium, so I've never been particularly worried about like getting my photo printed in a magazine. It just seems like a silly thing to look for. I feel like
I
magazine
mean,
it's
if you
I'm
want
throwing
that
maybe a bit
feeling,
more shade than I actually feel
yeah,
about it. Like it
I
is
definitely
cool, but at
will.
the same time like it is kind of a little bit of a dead medium that I'm just like, yeah, I just don't care. Um let's see. I think there was another question in there. Um, do. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm a little behind in chat, so I'm scrolling through. I think that's I think that's it. I don't know. Don't got no more questions.
I
So
don't see anything.
yeah, everyone's talking about trying to get that stealth
Dude,
bathroom questions. No, stop.
don't ask
Refuse.
bathroom questions, please.
um. Okay.
But I will say, if you want to submit to those magazines, you can. It
Mhm.
feels
It's
good.
not a
I
bad
get it.
thing. It's not a
No, it's
bad
not a
thing.
bad
I
thing.
wasn't trying to throw shade at you, like, haha, you're getting things published. That's so stupid. But more of that, just really, you just got to reach out to people and submit. I think that's probably the best way to do it. That said, I've had no interest, so I don't really have a strong piece of advice. Actually don't know if there's any physical copies. I know I did do an interview for one magazine where I had photos featured in it, but
That I think
I mean
that
it's
means more
yeah.
if you get an interview. Like if you get interviewed, they're getting to know you. I think that's more than just them slapping your photo in the mass of other ones on a page.
Yeah.
So
I will add this one as the kind of a good wrap up final question since we got it from Rem Create is a favorite convention location you've ever shot at. Man, I don't know. I haven't shot, I honestly feel like I just haven't shot at that many conventions to have like solid opinions on this.
same
Um
though.
uh man, like honestly in an ideal world where I have like can easily use the entire space. Like Katsukan is such an awesome location. The reason why like it's not so much anymore is it's way overcrowded and
Yeah,
overused. So it kind
yeah,
of I feel like feels less cool just because of that factors. But then when you stop and really think about how cool of a location it is really darn cool.
yeah.
Um Fleshcord, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? That's the trick you never do. I don't. I legitimately don't think you ever overcome imposter syndrome, and I feel like that's literally in every aspect of life, way beyond photography. Because I mean,
Mhm.
man, I still have major imposter syndrome when it comes to photography. I'm sure Mallo, you probably have that feeling often.
Yeah,
Um, I have it in pretty much everything I've do, even for things I've done professionally, and yeah. So I don't know. It's one thing. I think you just need to learn to live with it and kind of like just ignore that voice in your head that says that you're an imposter and just be like, yeah, well, even if I am, I just got to do this thing anyways. So yeah, just try and ignore it. Before we get back into the critique, Maho Maddie, thanks for that Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate it. If you guys don't know, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you also have Twitch Prime, which means you have one free sub to give to people every month. So if you have Amazon Prime and aren't using Twitch Prime, consider giving it to me. I'd appreciate it. Okay,
You
that
totally
little
sounded
plug
like
there.
a little commercial.
I mean, pretty much was.
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, I think lots of people don't realize that like Twitch Prime is a thing. Um, so yeah. All right, let's get back into the critique. Sound like a plan?
Hmm.
Cool. Let's go. We're gonna be on photo number 7, and this one is from YGK Photos. Uh, Mallo, do you want to lead us off here, or should I?
You lead us off.
You're just like, I'm gonna think
I'm
about
gonna.
this. No.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Cool. Um, I think this is a bit of a mixed feelings photo for me. Because I feel like I like the location. I like how the dress works with the yellow of the building behind the cosplayer, but the the pose and the lighting just aren't doing it for me.
Mm-mm.
Um I think here's the thing. I think the only reason why the lighting isn't doing it for me is the pose. I imagine with a different angle. I should say not the pose, the angle. Um I think that lighting with a different angle is totally fine. I just think this really low angle with the cosplayer looking off and it kind of shooting up at the cosplayer. Um that kind of a shot can work, but it kind of just feels like the cosplayer is pretty disengaged from the photo. And I like you get that like you can have the cosplayer looking off, but this just feels like eh, that it's not quite part of the shoot. Like it's just such an odd angle for it. It just does something about it just feels off to me. Um
Giving like an optical illusion with her knees. Like it makes it look
yeah.
like it's her stomach.
Yeah,
Like it's
her
like, you know what I
body is
mean?
so straight on to the camera too. This is something I feel like I'm bringing up a lot in this critique, where her shoulders are square to the camera, her hips are square to the camera, her knees are square to the camera. The only thing that's not square to the camera is her face, and uh, not saying that that look can't work, but it's you have to be doing something pretty special, I think, to make that uh work if you're gonna have everything straight onto the camera.
Like I feel like if you were to do this angle, it would need to come out. The knees would have to be, I would want to the right, like our right. And then like maybe her looking down, like more dress showing. Like this
Mhm.
angle could work. It's just like the knees coming
Yeah,
right at us. Yeah,
yeah. I
wouldn't.
think if you had the knees, if you had your camera moved a little bit further to the right of this frame, so the knees weren't coming right at you. If you
Mhm,
had like the hand down, her left hand down on the bench, and then her like face and gaze looking down towards that
mhm,
hand, I think
mhm,
that would work quite well for this angle. But it being so low and then her looking up and off, kind of we
mhm.
get like a lot of like the underside of her
It is,
neck,
it's not
which yeah.
flattering at all either.
Hmm.
I mean, she looks cute in this, but it just don't. It just isn't. Just not flattering. I don't think.
Yeah, it's hard. I also don't particularly like how strong the shadows are of the tree behind her.
Hmm.
Like I do really like the building behind her. Um but I think it's just cuz the tree behind her, the shadows are so dark compared to everything else, especially like it- her hair and the shadows of the tree kind of have a very similar luminance value. So her face pops out of the shot, but like
Hmm.
her hair doesn't. This would be maybe a good situation like if you were to do it again, to do like a very light rim light. There would be a lot I would change about this photo other than adding a rim light. But if I were to keep everything the same, I would also use a rim light just to kind of pop the edge along her, so that the edge of her shoulder and her head can kind of stand out from the shadows of those trees.
Hmm. I can't tell if this was like nighttime, like it was getting dark, and then you're using an artificial light. I can't tell if it was burned to look that dark. I can tell that her right shoulder looks like it was dodged because there would naturally be a shadow there behind her hair, like where her shoulder is. Like it doesn't make sense that it's that light. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Um,
her right shoulder or left?
yeah, like the right shoulder where she, the one that's closest over to the edge where all the dark shadow is.
Okay.
That looks like it was dodged. Like it doesn't make sense that it's that bright. Like you can even tell that it was dodged because it's like the lining of her shoulder is dark. I mean, if it's not, then that's some crazy light going on there, but it doesn't make sense to me that it's that light. This, I mean, overall, this needs to be brightened up.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
It
assuming it's
it is
Dell.
strobed, so I don't know if I think that's probably just the case of the strobe. I'm not sure if I buy into that being dodge and burn. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just
Yeah,
don't know.
it just
Uh,
looks, it makes her arm look fake. Like there's no texture to me. Like it doesn't look like it to me. Like straight off. I mean, if I zoom in, which who's doing that when they're looking at an image, um, it just doesn't look right. Like it just doesn't make sense to me because it just, I think because of the character and stuff, like
yeah.
it doesn't make sense it's
Yeah,
this dark.
something YGK said about this shot, and I get that, is uh, shifting clouds and changing lighting conditions. That speaks to my least favorite conditions to shoot in, is partly cloudy, when you have to deal with like bits of like bright pure sun, and then bright parts of overcast. It's really
Mm,
hard to like get into a good zone of shooting when you're like the weather's constantly going between overcast because the sun
right.
went under a cloud, and then direct sunlight. It's so hard to work
Sure.
under. So I feel you.
Yeah.
Um uh
I feel like you just, in this situation, the location looks really, really pretty to me. And having that yellow building in the background, I would want, you could easily probably like lift the shadows on that and make that more vibrant.
mhm.
Um, it doesn't need to be, I mean, I appreciate like a darker background. So I'm not saying this has to be like Disney bright at all. Like you don't, not everything has to be exactly like Disney and because she's a princess, like you can make it your own.
Yeah.
I just think it needs to be lifted a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, and even that, like just having that like lifted shadows, and I'm not saying like brighten the shadows, but just kind of bring
Mhm.
the floor of the shadows up, can kind of soften it a little bit for this
Mhm.
shot.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I give you props for using artificial stuff because I don't know how to use it. So you're already cool because you know how to use that stuff.
Any other
Maybe,
thoughts on this one before we move on to the next one?
maybe play around with color grading a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But
Yeah,
at the same
I
time, I
think
think this is
you
fine
could
how it
build on
is.
the kind of golden tones if you brought maybe some like deeper reds into the shadows or something like that. Kind of could just kind of build on the amount of gold that's in this shot.
I will just say I appreciate you being adventurous with angles. I
Yeah,
totally
I mean,
appreciate
it's
that.
a lot of
That's amazing.
times you if you're trying to be adventurous, you're gonna fail, and that's just natural. So
Wait, what? Are you saying every time or sometimes?
sometimes, not like
Oh,
not
okay.
being adventurous is inherently causing a failure, but like I
Oh,
think
I thought you meant like if you're adventurous, you're gonna fail every time.
to every time it's just why would you be adventurous? You're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No, I there's parts of this that I love, and then there's parts where I'm like, it could you just change it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Right. Let's move on to the next shot. This one is from Kelvin. I don't know if Kelvin's in chat tonight, but he usually shows up, so who knows. Um, Mello, do you want to lead off on this one, or should I? I'm gonna laugh if I do that every time, and you're just gonna be like, you.
Oh God.
I can start if you want.
Yeah, because it takes me a minute. I have to look at it, and I don't sit here in silence.
It's like, Mallow is currently
I'm the
processing. Please
worst.
hold.
I'm the
um, this is another kind of with the very first photo of this critique. We had an awesome symmetry shot, and this one kind of feels like the same. Um, the symmetry is really nice, and like with the wide with this wide of an angle, getting everything as symmetrical as it is a huge pain. So like big ups on that, because this is like how perfectly symmetrical that this shot is so much harder to do than I feel like it should. Like I think you just about nailed the symmetry. There's like the railings are like maybe the only thing that's not perfectly symmetrical. It's pretty damn impressive. Um I feel like even when I'm aiming to get a shot this symmetrical, I'd never succeed. um the thing that I kind of feel like isn't working for me with that in mind is the poses of the cosplayers just feel like bit too static in terms of the background. The background's really, symmetrical, it's rigid, and I kind of feel like because of that juxtaposition of kind of having really dynamic poses is going to really make them pop out. But both of them are very straight up and down. Um like the diamond cosplayer, like you can tell like all of her body weight is going through the one leg. So like if you follow that one leg up to her head, like it's all along that line.
Mhm.
There's just not really any curves in her form because of her pose. uh the Ports cosplayer, she has a bit more flow, but she still is still pretty straight up and down. So that would be the number one thing I would focus on is trying to make the poses more dynamic in the situation. Which I know is hard because you're probably focused on so hard on getting things symmetrical. I'd love to know like if this was a con or location shoot, because if this was for a convention, that'd be awesome. Awesome location.
I don't know how I feel about it being so zoomed out. It just feels
I like it.
like I don't know the series or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this without it sounding shitty, but it reminds me these kind of shots, unless it's like one model, sometimes they just like remind me of like a vacation photo. Like they're standing there and there's all this. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the only way for me.
It's fine.
I'm really
It's
bad
fine.
with words because I'm not poetic. But it's so dead. Like there's no mood to it. It's dead. It's like two cosplayers standing there to me.
I
And it just doesn't I don't have no feeling from it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree on that, but that's fine. Uh,
Like we're gonna
um,
butt heads with this one,
no,
but
it's fine.
the lighting is gorgeous.
Yeah,
I mean, it's perfect.
I,
And
I think I dig these kind of shots though, so that could just be the difference of preference here. Something chat has said, which I would like to echo, is the distant, like the step distance, especially since how wide of an angle this shot is, makes the
mm,
cosplayer height difference feel really weird. They could be totally the exact same height,
Mhm.
but just because of wide angle and one cosplayer is like back 2 steps, their heads are about the same level, but like the one cosplayer is like essentially like steps down, so it kind of just it gives the end result effect of making the diamond cosplayer feel a bit like squished down
Mm.
vertically, um which is not usually an effect you want to give on a cosplayer. Um, so I totally understand what you're going for with trying to kind of create depth in the image with that. But it would be something I'd be very careful with if you're gonna go this wide and have them be on different planes. Um, I would maybe at most have them be like one step different. They're like 1.5 step different right now, which is just at this wide of an angle makes a big difference.
I feel like this is where it gets subjective because I feel like I don't like this. Just feels more showcasey. There's no mood to this. They're standing there, like absolutely standing there. There's no action. It's not close enough either for like if it was like one of them and it was zoomed in more. Like I don't know. I just feel like this is something it shouldn't be like hear me out. If it would have been like the cosplayer on the left in the middle doing some kind of pose, it would have fit better to me because it's the one cosplayer in the middle, all the environment. When there's two, it's just like, hey, we're on vacation, we're posing. Like it just I don't know where to look. It's too much. Like it's too much space to me, and it just looks showcasey in the wrong ways. But this is like I said, subjective. I shoot things differently and
Yeah,
feel
Mallow.
certain
See,
things.
the thing
So.
here is that you're wrong. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
Okay.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's funny because like I totally hear where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I just don't know if I agree that there's no mood. Uh
What mood do you get from this?
I think there is some degree of kind of epicness to this. I do kind of I get what you're getting at. The mood isn't super
Mhm.
strong,
Mm.
but I don't think it's devoid of mood. I do think, if you gave the cosplayers a bit more interaction with each other,
Yeah.
um I think it could work better. I also think having them both look at the camera might be part of the reason why it's not working as well.
Yeah. That's
Because
yeah.
I feel like these kind of shots generally work better if you have the cosplayers looking off, like they're both looking at something,
Yeah.
contemplating that thing. Like, oh, we're going to go over there. Like, it's not a strong storytelling, but let's be real, you don't need a lot in a photo to tell like a minor amount of story enough to for it to feel like a cohesive photo. So
It's all depends on what
yeah,
you are as a photographer. Some people like the showcasey stuff. Some
yeah.
people like the moody. Like me and Sarah are very much mood, emotion, conceptual. Like it's just all and I'm coming off harsh. I'm just saying what I'm feeling. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is how I feel about the photo. But at the same time, I think the skin retouching's great, the lighting's great, like you said, the symmetry. But I'm going to be real. For me, I feel that it's dead, but doesn't mean it's a fact for sure. I just wanted to let you guys know. I'm a little harsh, but it's just I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. So um, I agree. If they were looking off in different directions, maybe it
Yeah.
wouldn't feel so like I don't know. It's
I
weird.
honestly, I think to me the poses are just the weakest part of the photo. Um,
Sure, I
espe-
get what you meant by
yeah.
the height thing.
Uh, the thing that the more I look at it too, the cosplayer on our right, um, the her I really lose like the edge of her chin to her neck, like that. her chin just kind of like runs straight into her neck because of how that
Mm.
pose is and kind of how the light is there, which is not a particularly good look. You can fix that a little bit with some more dodging and burning to kind of bring back her jawline.
Mm.
But as it is right now, I kind of feel like it just is not very existent and kind of turns her like head and neck into like one thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing I'd watch for. But yeah, no. Uh, I want to shoot in this location though. Like that.
It is pretty. I'm a
Yeah.
sucker for the marble like
Hmm.
looking. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great texture in here, and I kind of wish there was a bit more color in the shadows, but like overall, the kind of like the blues and the midtones and the
Hmm.
warm colors in the highlights, I really dig.
Yeah. This is I think the edit is clean. I love the editing. I was completely too
Yeah.
focused in the mood part, so I'm
You're
sorry.
fine. You're fine. No.
I'm being so mallow right now.
Yeah, I mean that's why people pay to come here.
Okay. Oh,
Got to
fine.
give people
People
what they
hate
pay
me.
for.
I'm never guessing again. I'm mean. I'm sorry, guys. I
Oh,
love you.
yes, you're terrible.
It's the red hair.
So mean. Let's move on to the next shot. Okay, this next one is from Lou, who I know I've seen in chat earlier. So hopefully he's still floating around here. Um, I it's funny because I feel like this is maybe not the first thought a lot of people would have when looking at a photo like this. But like I super dig the reflection in the
Yeah.
visor.
Yeah.
To me, like it's something I look at and go like, man, wouldn't you be getting like, wouldn't you show up in that reflection? Like it kind of
Hmm.
like just makes it feel that much more special when um you got that kind of like cool almost like fisheye look to the reflection, and you don't even see the photographer in it. It just is a really unique look. um there that said, I do have I don't want to say problems with this shot, but like the thing that's confusing me is like I just don't understand the background of this shot. Like I
Hmm.
just literally don't know what's going on in the background of this photo. Like I kind of feel like it looks like the ocean maybe? I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Um
It's too blurred.
yeah, and it's too bright too. Like you're getting a bunch of just absolute pure I shouldn't say it's not pure white because the highlights have been lowered, but like there's no data there. It's just bright light. Um and then like the vignette along the top of the image just has a really hard line to it that kind of feels a little weird to me.
Mm.
um that said, I really like the coloring of the photo. I love the blue purples going on, blurples, if you will. Yeah.
I agree. The colors are
I've
great.
got another nitpick, but it's super weird and very specific, so I'll save it until you give your opinions,
Okay, I'm coming. I had to take my contacts out.
Mal.
I had them here because I knew that
Yep.
you have to deal with my glare on my glasses,
Oh,
guys.
don't worry about it.
Okay. Oh God. Okay, my eyes are adjusting. Okay. Um, I love the purples and blues. I think it makes it pop. I think it's cool.
Oh,
It works
sweet
for this.
blurples.
The blurples. I don't necessarily like the hands, especially their right hand is extremely purple. It reminds me of the little girl from Willy Wonka, and I don't like it. It doesn't. I don't know what is this from. Do you know what this is from?
Durarara. I've never
Okay.
watched it, but I know it.
I don't think their hands are this color. Maybe they are, but I that's the only thing I
No.
think I don't
Yeah, they're
like.
just a bit too purpley.
Yeah. I agree the reflection's really cool because I don't know. It's kind of cool to I don't know, to see where they may be and stuff like that. It gives us it's the only like hint of where they are. Background's not telling us at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm loving the colors. The pose is cool. I think the angle works.
Yeah, I
It
wish I got a
works.
bit more of her back arm, but it's kind of a weird angle, but it works in this situation for whatever reason. I think it's because
Yeah,
her face is entirely covered too that it can work this way.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm. So looking at her other hand now too, that the hand holding the cell phone's purple, but if you look at her other hand, holy jeez, that hand
It's
even more
crazy.
purple. And yeah, that now that I looking at it, that hand real bothers me. No
Yes.
good. Bad. uh um so the reason why I don't particularly like how she's holding her cell phone, but the reason being for that is incredibly nitpicky. It
Mhm.
reminds me of like Canon cameras have and probably more have um remote trigger apps that you can use with your phone. And to me, just the way she's holding it, it just gives me the impression like this was a self-timered or triggered via the phone self-portrait. And I totally know that that's not the case here, but that's just what my mind is telling me when I look at this shot. And
Mhm.
I know that's not accurate, but I can't help it. And I know that's a very specific nitpick that probably no one else has, but I just needed to get that out there. um, uh, the other thing that Oki Cosby had mentioned, and it's a bit awkward, but I'm going to mention it anyways, is there is some retouching that needs to happen around the crotch. Just kind of there's just like a bit of awkward wrinkles there, and kind of the bodysuit clinging to a bit to undergarments, and just do a bit of cleanup there.
Yeah.
It will help it read better, and just yeah. You don't want that to be the really the anyone to spend any time focusing on that area of the
Mhm.
cosplay in general. So yeah, just do a little retouching. Um uh yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those shots that I think at first glance I really like, but then the more I look at it, the more it kind of confuses me. The background's just really what's throwing me for the most loop. That and the purple hands.
Cool though. Cool helmet. Wish I had it. I don't know what for. I'm
Any other
sorry.
thoughts from you, Mallow, other than cool helmet
No. Cool
and
helmet.
blurple?
It's good. Just fix the crotch. The end.
Fix the crotch, TM. Okay, let's go on to the next shot then. Uh, this one is from Mahomedi, who I know is in the chat as well, or at least was earlier. So hopefully she is still around as well. She
It's
was like,
best boy. Sorry.
"You're fine." Yeah,
Aww.
there she is. Um, Mallow, you're up on this one. I think I started the
Okay,
last
okay,
three.
okay. Okay. um Aw, so cute. Darn it. We just missed Halloween. This would have been perfect. Oh, it's so cute.
You can
Um
pretend.
this is I don't remember if this is like fan art from Boku no Hero or not, but really, really cute. The first thing I noticed was I'm assuming leaves in the foreground. I always appreciate this because I am one of those people. I will like pluck flowers out of the ground or put it in front of my lens. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I do it. And
You
just to
flower plucker.
yes, I pluck all the flowers. And just to get that when you don't have the foreground to make your own. So I don't know if this was like composited in or if it's
I
like
think it's
real.
real, but like my mind said it was composited, but like when I zoom in and I'm looking at like the like kind of like a mild bit of compression and kind of how it's playing with the things with
Yeah.
the noise, I think it's real. So
Okay.
I mean, we can get an answer from Maddie here, but I think it is real and not composited.
Okay.
Man, I'm gonna be
Uh,
like 0 for 3 here if I'm wrong.
um,
Ah, the foreground is definitely fake. Oh my god,
it's fake.
I'm
Okay.
I'm done. Bye guys, it's been fun.
Oh yeah, because I was like, it's like it looks like too uniform. I don't know. I mean, it could have been real. It's official design from. Oh, an official design. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, I've seen those on Twitter. Okay, sorry. Melinda was talking about it. Okay. That being said, I think it's a cool touch because it's giving that like autumn vibe. Which I mean, October, Halloween, autumn, and all together. So that's cool, but I feel like it was just too much, or it just doesn't make sense to me because of the fact that like behind Deku is this wall and then this random I don't know what the purple and gold thing is.
Yeah,
Um
that's kind of throwing me off. I didn't really like. What is
yeah.
that?
It was just
Is that
it's
another
a little
cosplayer?
too
Is that
random.
a? I don't know.
I feel like when these things are done, you got to really focus on the background too, that it makes sense that that
Oh, it's
object in
part
the
of the
foreground is
costume,
there.
huh?
What is?
The purple and gold apparently.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't. Contextually, it's reading really weird. Then I
Hmm.
just can't place it.
I think it's just because of the angle, and then like the leaves are like blocking a lot. So I just feel like this was just used in the wrong time, kind of thing.
So,
I think the effort is endearing, and I love it because you're doing something different and being adventurous and stuff like that. But it just doesn't make quite sense to me. But at the same time, it's okay because I get where you're going and it goes with costume. Um, Also, I don't think I want this to be at the angle it is. I feel like I'd want to see more of the face.
yeah, I don't like the angle's not terrible, but I wish we did see a bit more face.
Mm,
Um, kind of couple thoughts to rattle off. I know you kind of the framing I like in concept. I think
mm,
what's throwing me off is how strong it's blurred compared to like you can see like the brick in the background is in perfect
yeah,
focus. So it feels weird to have something that out of focus when you can see like the background is in focus. Just kind of like your brain goes, that's not quite right. If you're going to do that, I think what you should do is maybe like just add more leaves to really lean into this framing a bit more. Because I mean that brick wall is not really a strong element of the photo anyways.
yeah.
Um uh I something that's driving me nuts about this shot is how wrinkly the hood is. Um I mean, there's some things you could do. It's really wrinkly. It'd be a pain to retouch that, especially with like the kind of like ghosty face on top of the hood. Man, this is just a reminder to cosplayers, like just like take the time and iron or steam because it saves us photographers so much time and
Mm.
effort, and you get a better photo if it's just not that wrinkly. So yeah. Um I also wish like I like the colors in the kind of autumn leaf frame. I kind of wish you brought some of those like dark reds into the shadows, more of the cosplayer section. Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm. I feel
Um
like this pose is good. Like this, if you would have taken out the leaves and had the cosplayer lift their chin a little bit, kept the hands and everything, and the cosplayer looking up at the camera,
yeah, I think that'd be really cute.
that would have been cute. I would have liked that. Even if we had to keep it at the crop it is and everything, take the leaves out, save them for another a rainy day, and then just use because like that. I think it's precious what they were trying to do here,
Yeah.
but it just there's too much of the cosplayer
Yeah.
being blocked out.
I would agree with that.
But it's still cute because Deku's cute. I
Any
love.
other thoughts on this one before we move to the next shot?
Watch the series, and if you don't, you're not my friend. Just kidding. I love you
Alrighty.
guys.
Wow,
Sorry.
Mallow.
Sorry.
Spicy. That wine
I know. Yep. Sorry, it's the wine. Let's blame the wine.
You're like, sure, let's blame the wine. This isn't me. This is just the wine. It's totally me.
Boku no Hero is
Um
pretty great. Just saying.
so this next shot, I know Lynn's been chilling around for a while. Hopefully she is still here. But more this is perfectly worked perfectly that these shots were back to back because you got more Halloween Boku no Hero. So this is a perfect follow up. Um, Mel, are you starting this one or should I?
I want to start it.
Okay, I feel like you looked at the shot for a while before, so
I've seen, yes. Well, okay.
well,
First off, best boy. Another best boy from the series. Um, their color grading is just so great. It's so just its own. It's very editorial to me.
I think
Um,
what always amazes me is the dodge and burn more than the
oh
color grade.
yeah,
The color grading's good, but that dodge and burn though,
yeah.
I
It's
can't do that. Like if I try to do this, I'm like, wow, it looks so bad and wrong. But here we are, and we're looking at this photo, and it's really nice, and I'm just like, how the fuck? Sorry,
um
continue, Mel.
and oh, it's so good.
I,
I'm really bad with like I feel like if I was someone who like had to make my own set, I would be really bad at it. So I just want to appreciate the set itself because like I've never attempted to make a set, but like it's cool. I think it really works for this. It's very portrait, and like just I don't know, it's just like something I would see in like a lookbook. I really like it.
so and I mean this in the best way. I get a lot of visual K vibes from this photo.
Mm.
Um, and I'm totally okay with that.
Oh yeah,
uh,
for sure. Yeah.
I think it's that like stupid like kind of like neoclassical vampire-esque look that happens in visual K that is just so stupid but so endearing. And it just that feeling is there in this shot.
Hmm.
Um and that is something that I just really enjoy with it.
Yeah.
um but I love everything going on uh with the cosplayer. I love the dodging and burning. I dig the hell out of the colors. I think just because everything is so good there, the background just feels particularly weak in comparison.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge things like this where it's a set.
Hmm.
Like it's set up. Because
Yeah.
it's a completely different thing. Like
Yeah,
it's a
yeah. Like
you know what I
if
mean?
if this is a series of photos, I think it reads better. But a single photo by itself, that background just feels a little weaker.
Yeah,
Hard.
I see where you're coming from. The I just want I just I want to know how to like get those tones and those colors.
Yeah.
I it's interesting. It's like cool but warm at the same time. And I don't know, it's
I,
crazy.
I also think it's part of the reason the background feels weird to me is that like the left side of the photo is fairly dark and the right side is fairly bright. I'd like to see kind of like the right side darken to kind of match the left side a bit more, especially kind of that like that triangle at the bottom between the leg and the cape. Um,
Yeah.
it's just very bright, and it's just like a spot that shouldn't be bright. Like I don't want my eye to go there because it's not a particularly interesting place for my eye to go. Um, so yeah,
Well, I appreciate that he was able to like shoot this because I can't shoot. I would self. I don't know. Self portraits are so hard. I feel like, and to get it like get a nice pose,
yeah,
where
I
you look good.
yeah, that's fucking hard.
The only thing
um,
I would say negative is I don't really like that I can't see either hand. For
Yeah,
sure.
I was literally just thinking about that and being like the framing is just a little funky to me with the how it cuts off the body and you don't lose the hand there. I
Like
mean
if it
I don't
was just taken out a little bit where we could see that hand draping over
s-
the knee, that's
yeah,
and
so
then the other
so
hand on the
Mallow, I want your thoughts on this. This shot horizontal instead of vertical. I don't know how far the problem here is probably the background doesn't continue that far to work with a horizontal shot. But I think like everything kept the same
Hmm.
with a horizontal shot, so you can get the rest of the body in there. That would work well.
If if the backdrop was that long, then yeah, I would love to see
Yeah,
the whole I would love to
I
see
have
it
a strong
horizontal.
feeling that probably isn't the case though. That's probably why this
If
this stuff is framed this way.
if it's vertical, just bring it out enough so I can see that knee. And then just be cautious of the hand that's like
uh,
draped over the cape.
yeah, Neolin says I cut my I have very short paraphrasing. I have very short legs, so I cut them off to suggest I have more legs than I do.
I love
That's
it.
kind of hilarious.
Well, even
But
if the
yeah.
left arm is chopped off, if you could get that hand out of that cape, I would be okay with that. I mean, I see so many photos in magazines where they don't have hands showing. I mean, it's again subjective. It doesn't overall the hand's not showing. I'm not like, oh my, this is a disaster. Get rid of it, throw it away. Like it's like it's gorgeous and you're precious and you look good in every photo. So there's that.
Neolin's just like I also have freakishly small hands. Man,
I'm okay.
even if you do, like you're fine. Unless,
Wait, are you wait,
unless,
so are you
unless your hands
purposely
are
hiding your hands?
literally freakishly small, we see your hands and they're like this big, like I'm sure it's fine. I wouldn't worry about it that much.
You're gonna hate me because I'm gonna send you It's Always Sunny things because there's a character in that show where he wears fake hands that are way larger because he has a complex about his small hands. I'm so sending that to you. You're gonna hate me, but that's what you get. Your hands are not small. I think I've
yes,
seen your
stop.
hands, like in video or something. They're not
Um.
small.
Okay. I feel like I'm gonna wrap this up with a very nitpicky thing. There's
Okay.
one thread on your chest that's coming down there. That's a super easy retouch to remove, and it feels kind of weird given how much like how great the dodging and burning and color toning is. That like there's this one thread that was missed, and it's driving me nuts. And I know it's really nitpicky, but here I'll zoom in for uh the stream, but this guy right here. bothers me.
Wait. Oh crap! I was looking at the stream.
uh,
Oh my god! How'd you even see that?
with my
Okay, I gotta get
eyeballs? I don't know what to tell you there,
some
Mallow.
eyeballs. Sorry, I have my glasses on. It's hard.
Me too, Mallow. Me too.
Okay,
I
can we
always
be
love it
real
when I
though?
get the angles of you just like
You get your angles of what?
of your like face like this close as you like
Listen, when I have my, this is me with my cell phone, guys. I have to put my glass. I am literally a grandma. Like these glasses are, they don't do anything. They're
uh,
for show.
uh I feel like we went into lots of details of that one. This overall though, I still really like this shot. And your dodging and burning is seriously goals.
I want to watch you edit.
Yeah,
So
I genuinely would love to know how you're dodging and burning because it's awesome. Oh yeah.
you're adorable.
Okay. So we got one final shot here in the critique. And this
Don't do
one
that.
is from Rem Create, which I also think was here in the chat. Lots of you guys chilling in the chat today. That's awesome. Appreciate it when you're
Going in the
chilling with
chat.
us and chatting along. Um uh yeah, thoughts with my brain. Um yeah, we're getting close to the end here and my brain's just like
I'm
no.
dead. I'm like balls deep in Pokemon fruit snacks right now. I am so tired. I'm trying to find any sugar. That was not cute.
Balls
sorry.
deep into Pokemon fruit snacks.
Okay, I just needed sugar. Okay, let's go. You go
Okay.
first.
Of course.
I just almost snorted. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
This critique is too chill. This is too
Yeah,
chill.
we've gone too far.
I'm never gonna come back.
Well, so this is a kind of photo that I really dig the concept. But there's a lot in execution where I kind of feel like could be improved. So first off, uh the my favorite part about this is the pose. I love how the veil is flowing off of her. Like that's just awesome. I think I really wouldn't change much about her pose. Maybe with the direction of her eyes. I think the way her pupils are going is feels a little weird, but like that's really nitpicky. Um
Mm.
there's just a lot of things that are I think are pretty clearly off about this shot. One is the focus was missed. The focus was more on the background than it was on her. And viewing this like full screen, it's a little bit harder to notice, but like I don't know, it's just like you lose out on a little bit of detail on her, and it bothers me. Um, the second is just kind of the overall mood. Like I know kind of what was going for with this kind of dark moody kind of shot where it kind of is supposed to look like, you know, later into the evening towards night, but like that sky's just way too bright for that style of
Mhm.
shot. Like it just reads middle of the day for me. um uh the other thing is that rim light flash that's in the background. Just one, if you're gonna keep it in there, make sure you're photoshopping out the flash stand. Like super easy thing to Photoshop out. Because right now it just reads as, oh hey, I put a flash in here. The thing that gets me about it is I don't know what that flash is doing other than creating a little ball of flare. Because it's
Well, it
not.
doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Because like it's not working as a rim light on her. It's not lighting anything in this photo really.
It's literally just
Because like it's not
I'm
really
sorry.
pointed towards her.
Laughing.
It's not. It's just there. It's just a light that's
Yeah.
pointed towards the camera to create like this little bit of flare, and it just doesn't read well. Like it just isn't doing anything. Um, I'd take it out. Like if it were me, I would actually probably completely Photoshop out that light from this shot because it's just not doing anything for the photo. It's just creating
Yeah.
a very bright point that my eye ends up going to that's unimportant to the shot. Um, Other things, compositionally, I think this shot's uh the where she is in the frame is a little odd to me. I think you should this shot I think could be improved a lot with a different crop. So if you cropped it in a little bit on the left so that she's on a third and then cropped a lot of the bottom out of this shot, um, because I think that you just end up with a lot more powerful of a photo. Um, I just did like a quick crop in Photoshop. Let me try and see if I can screen share for you guys to see kind of what I mean. I just think this feels like a lot stronger of a photo with this crop. Um, uh, Other things that are weird. I know you used kind of like that selective color to get that little bit of blue on her and the veil as well, which I don't particularly mind. I don't think selective color is my favorite style of look. Um, I would, if you were gonna go that route, I would probably have brought some deep blues into the shadows of the rest of the frame
Mhm.
instead of making it entirely black and white. So here's my huge problem with how you did the selective color though, is that there are still some very specific areas of color in this shot. So if you look at it, like there's a bit of like kind of that ghosting from the flare on the tree. So we get some
Mhm.
color in the tree there. If you look up uh in the top of the frame, you can see blue of the sky
Mhm.
at the tops of the frame, which like
You
I
can see
think
in the right too, the
yeah,
right top.
yeah, no, and I kind of almost wonder if that was just like you were doing it via layer mask and you just like missed those areas or something. I don't really know. But to zoom in for chat or for the stream, there's this area here and then this area here where there's blue along the tree here. Oops, don't mean to crop. There's like a bit of flare that's get like this red color here. Like there's the kind of rainbow from the flare in the flash. There's just like some inconsistencies with that kind of black and white feel. So if you're gonna do the black and white with that um specific color look, I just make sure that you're spending the time to really kind of make sure that you're not missing areas.
Mhm.
Sorry, I talked for a lot, Mallow.
Oh no, I'm listening.
You should
No, a lot of you're pointing out a lot of what I saw. First thing was the. I'm not gonna lie to you. Before you said something, I was like, is that the sun?
yeah,
Like
no, totally.
peeking through?" But then it didn't make sense with where the light was hitting her.
Mm.
Um, yeah. In general, I don't know if you left it there to make it like it was the sun, but yeah, it doesn't make sense to me at all. I would have just taken it out. Plus, like if you were trying to make it like the sun, like it doesn't make sense in this setting with the character. But um, I like this vertical. I do like, yeah. Um, I like how she's placed where there's like some graves, in the foreground. Um, because sometimes people will shoot stuff where it's like I've seen some graveyard shots. I'm assuming the props,
Yeah, I don't think
but
that this if this is a
I'm not
real
gonna lie to you.
graveyard, that would be kind
Okay,
of humorous in a way.
um, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've shot in a graveyard. Like a real one.
I know there's a lot of
Um,
controversy on that. Don't
there is.
happen to be particularly someone who's bothered by it, so just
Yeah. Only once, but it was for Phantom. Anyway, uh, uh, So there's some I've seen people shoot in these settings where it, like, or just with props in general where all the props are in the background. There's no foreground. So I appreciate it a lot. Um, I mean, anything else, I'd probably be just like mimicking you because I noticed the very obvious blue parts in the sky. Um, and yeah, I just not feeling all the black and white. Like I see where they were trying to come from because it's very gray in the movie, but definitely feel like the shadows could have some color in them just to make
Mm,
it pop a little more. I totally agree with you with that.
yeah. I'm just really like playing around with this in Photoshop just to kind of see, because I actually think there is something here to this photo. Um, and I just am playing around with it real quick, and hold on, let me see if I can. Me 1 second here. Um, do do do. This is like a hot second's worth of editing. Um, but I'll screen share for you guys. This was just like really sloppily done, but I think you get the point that I'm trying to make with this shot is kind of, making that photo feel more black and white than selective color, but still kind of bring those pale blues into it. Photoshop out that flare,
Mhm.
and give it a better crop. This, it's still not going to read like late night. The sky's still going to be bright, but this definitely can have like a bit more of a ghostly feel to it. Um, done this way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Any other thoughts on this one, Mallow? I feel like we kind of covered this one pretty deep
Yep.
at this point.
I think we're
Sorry if
good.
I feel like I kind of went ham on that one. Rum create. Sorry. Hopefully it was helpful though. Um, okay, and with that, that was the final shot of the critique. Um, Thanks everyone who chilled with us in this super casual critique. Hopefully it wasn't too casual. Hopefully it was still enjoyable. Thank you, Mallow, for being here. Uh, and kind of filling in this little mini critique. It was awesome having you here. Um, yeah, and where can people follow you, Mallow? So if people aren't already following you, which they should, but where can people find your work?
You can follow me at my live journal. I'll give you the link. Is live
Stop.
journal still alive? I'm sorry.
I
Okay,
don't
you
know.
can follow me at
Yeah.
Instagram, Miss Mallow Photo, and I also have in my description my second profile for my personal work that hasn't been updated in a while. But yeah, I'm doing my own personal stuff too. So yeah, Instagram or Twitter, Miss Mallow Photo at Twitter, because Instagram's starting to really piss me off.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too high on Instagram right now, but
I'm literally getting more feedback. I never thought the day would come I'd say that, but it's real.
yeah, I've been getting
So
more response on Facebook lately, and I'm just like, than
I've been
Instagram, and I'm
okay.
just
I've
like,
heard that from people, and I'm like, I thought Facebook died like
yeah, I've been
years
weird. I've
ago.
really weirded out by that. Yeah. Couple
Yeah.
final things here. One, if you enjoyed the critique, consider giving a donation. It's not required by any means, but it is appreciated. Um, or if you can't donate, maybe consider subbing. Especially if you have a Twitch Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, and you have your Twitch Prime sub, consider giving a Twitch Prime sub, considering it's easy and pretty much free for you. Um, Uh, other things. Do. So let's see what I'm gonna do next. The next critique will be another one without Sarah. However, this is going to be our first official brotique.
I
um,
can't. Don't
yeah,
call
so
it
we're
that.
gonna. Oh, I'm calling it that. It's
I'm not gonna be in the
I'm
chat. I'm gonna
leaning
be
in hard, Mallow. We're gonna have a
I'm gonna be such
brotique.
an ass in the chat.
So Neil Bronabon, and
Neil.
Brono photos, i.e. Mason Hikari and Sono photos, are gonna join me.
Oh my god, it's gonna be a mess.
Brotography, uh,
That's gonna be interesting.
uh,
God
for an
damn
all
it.
bro episode. Uh, and that will be next week Thursday. Here's the twist, though.
There's a
And
twist.
yes, there's a twist. So we're leaning hard into this bro theme. So
God.
photos, all your photos that you submit, it needs to be one of two things, and I'll detail it more before, in case people want to chew me out. It needs to be either of a male cosplayer or of a male character. So that's leaning into our bro theme. So the goal of this isn't to be like exclusionary, like guys only kind of thing. It's really just kind of, to be a fun twist, just so that's clear. So like if you have any questions on it, like hit me up. But if you think a photo is okay for that, if it falls under that theme, it is. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's meant to be fun. So don't think too hard about it. If a character comes across as male, or like, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to, like, this is not like a rule that I'm gonna be like judging super hard. It's meant to just kind of make it fun. And the fact of the matter is, we have very few male cosplayers that show up in this critique. And more male like characters are being cosplayed, but even then, still, it's far more, the overall lean of this is far more female based. So it's just kind of a fun way to mix it up, and that way I can also call it a brotique. um
My god.
uh so yeah, that'll be next week Thursday, um at 7 p.m. Central. um yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for everyone for joining in on this silly little mini episode. Hopefully I won't get sick again and have to cancel an episode ever again, but
Yeah, please don't. Thank you.
that was so miserable. I was going through the day and I was just like, yeah, we'll see how I feel. I don't want to cancel it. I've never canceled one before. I feel so bad. I felt like so awful because I was just like, because the guests make time to be on. And Topher was getting off of work early or something, I believe, to get on, and I'm just like, I feel so terrible. And he was just like, yeah, don't even worry about it. Um,
Someone
so,
said someone said mini 3 hours.
oh damn, we've been going longer than I thought. Shit. Yeah, we're bad. I'm sorry.
I
Okay.
mean, you're still watching, so
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, okay. With that, I think it's time to wrap it up. Let's see. Is there anyone we can send over to raid? Because is anyone else live? Because otherwise, I'm about to send you all over to watch Bob Ross. I'm
maybe
learning.
Bob Ross. He deserves it.
Yeah, no, totally. So if no one has a suggestion in the next 5 minutes, we're all gonna go watch Bob Ross together, because that's what the good Lord intended. Okay, well, no one's coming up with suggestions, so it sounds like it's time for some Bob Ross up in here. So have everyone have an awesome night. Um, I will see you next week, and thank you again, Mallow, for being on. It's always awesome, and I know we sass a lot, but it's awesome having you here. So yeah,
Thanks.
that see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm got the raid going, so I'm not gonna totally hang up. It's gonna start in like 10 seconds here, so. Okay, we're gonna raid Bob Ross, and it's gonna be the weirdest thing ever because no one raids Bob Ross. Okay, I'm hitting the raid now button. Okay, bye for reals though.
Bye.